Hey everybody, we are going to work on the problem that is probably the hardest on the test and probably confusing the most people. So I'm going to try to go very, very slow. If you were in class, there's a lot of this that you've already heard, but I am just going to go very, very slow for those of us that have not seen this before. So when you are given a situation where they give you the area, okay, you are always going to use the area formula, and then we'll talk about the steps that it'll take to solve it. So I've only got one area formula. I'm going to start with that. I need to find the radius and the diameter, but look at our formula. Area equals pi r squared. I'm first going to solve for r. That's the first thing I can do. That's what I'm going to solve for. So I'm given my area, my A. I'm going to change that, my A, I'm going to substitute it in for 113.04. My A is 113.04. Now I'm changing also my pi to 3.14. All the stuff we've been doing, just changing the numbers we know. I'm leaving my r squared alone. I don't know my r squared. That's what I'm trying to solve for, okay? That doesn't change. Now, this is technically not a one-step equation. So I'm not going to say it's a one-step equation, but we're going to solve it pretty similarly because I want this r squared all by itself. And see, there's this multiplication happening between 3.14 and r squared. I want this 3.14 out of there. I want it all to be on the other side. All the numbers on the other side, I want the r squared by itself. Isolating my r squared. So, what is the opposite of multiplication? Division. I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14 because that's what I want to get out of here. That's what I want to stop crowding my r squared. When I divide 3.14 by 3.14, I just get 1. So I'm left with r squared on this side. Now, on this side, I've got a division problem happening. I'm going to do 113.04 divided by 3.14. I get 36. Fabulous. 36 equals r squared. Okay, a lot of us are freaking out. We don't know what to do. We know how to get here, but once we're here, we don't know what to do. For those of you who were not in class, I'm going to show you what's happening right now and why we're going to do what we're going to do. So, r squared is really just r times r. So, what we're trying to figure out is what number times itself gets me 36. Okay? What number times itself is giving me 36? That's all that's happening right here. In order to figure that out, we use something called a square root, okay? Square root is the opposite of squaring. R squared is squaring our r. The opposite of squaring would be taking the square root of something. How we get the square root is, what's really happening is, let's picture we've got a square. In this square, we know that the area is 36. Now, you know this about a square. All sides of the square are the same length. So, we're trying to figure out what number, let's say x, right? When we don't know a number, we usually use x. What side lengths, when I multiply them together, again, same thing that's happening here, when I multiply two side lengths together, I get an area of 36. That is what we're trying to figure out. Now, a square root figures that out for us. When I take the square root of both sides, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. I am basically, on my r squared side, I'm looking at a square, and I'm saying the area of that square is r squared. Well, I could tell you r times r gets me an area of r squared. So when I take the square root of r squared, I'm just left with r. just left with r. r times r gets me r squared. Okay, now with the square root of 36. Some of you can look at 36 and you're like, oh, I know what number multiplied by itself gets me 36. But if you don't know that, you're going to use your calculator. On your calculator, there's this square root button. It's right above this x squared, this button that squares things. It's right above it in green. It's a square root symbol. To get to it, you're going to do second to get your green, second, and then click on the x squared button. And you're going to see this square root. This is what we call our square root. You got this square underneath it blinking. Now I'm going to put in 36 and click enter. I get the square root of 36 is 6. Now some of you knew that because you knew 6 times 6 gets me 36. That's the number times itself that gets me 36. So my radius is 6. 6 centimeters. You thought I was about to say 6'7", didn't you? Just 6 centimeters. Okay. Now, if I have 6 centimeters, what is going to be my diameter? My diameter is just my radius times 2. And in this case, my radius is 6, so 2 times 6 gets me 12 centimeters. Okay, so all you gotta do, this was just to explain what's actually happening, but I just want you to understand, all you've gotta do is figure out your area formula. There's just one, so you're gonna use that one. You're gonna plug in 113.04 for your area, or whatever your area is, right? It's telling you what your area is. You're gonna plug it in for area. Then you're gonna change your pi to 3.14, multiply it by r squared. Then I wanna get r squared all by itself, so I'm gonna divide both sides by 3.14. I'm left with r squared on this side. In this problem, I got 36 on this side. Now I'm gonna reverse my squaring. What is the opposite of a square? Square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. I plug it in my calculator by going second and the x squared button. I get the square root, plug in 36, and I got 6. So you're always going to get your radius. When you're given your area, you're always going to find your radius first. Then you got to do one more step to find your diameter. Hope this helps.